Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. It is the Ben and Swiz show, also known as the BS show. Swiz, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself, Benny?
Good. Enjoying that off season.
Oh, mate, the off-season never stops, and especially when it comes to cricket.
It never lasts long, especially when you are interested in cricket. Now, I do confess, I need to buy a BBL shirt. Unfortunately, I think full price they're a lot more than I want to pay for one. So I have my new Brisbane Lions shirt on, the one that didn't get signed by Zorko, but we'll get into that in another story for the AFL preseason. BBL starts today. Swiz, myself, Matty Grimstone, we are big fans of cricket. Chris hates it with a passion. He would rather watch soccer or fall over in the mud, and you won't hear from him at all this preseason. So that's kind of a nice, refreshing start, don't you think, Swiz?
Yeah, it's a nice change in that. I know Grimo's pretty big into it, and I'm sitting here in my cricket stuff. I kind of rolled out of the club about midnight last night. Our boys had 4 wins, so I'm probably more passionate about cricket than I am footy, which is saying a lot. So, yeah, very excited to be doing this pod with you, mate.
Wow, and if your passion is bigger for cricket, I can't wait to see some insights. I am not going to lie. BBL for me reminds me of kind of when I first started playing Supercoach, where you know the premiums, but I have no idea about up-and-comers. Do you know what I mean? You see this name pop up, and I'm like, I have no idea who this kid is, whereas I'm assuming over time, if you start to watch and you see the grades cricket come through or people get opportunities, you start to get a bit more familiarity with some of these rookies. So, Swiz, I am definitely going to be riding your coattail with your opinions this year.
Well, we're probably going to be the blind leading the blind, but no, we should be right in that. Yeah, the BBL is a little bit different to the AFL because obviously you see these rookies come and get drafted and you find out a bit more information about them. But because of a lot of team swaps and the international players coming in, and they might only come in for 3, 4, 5 weeks, the information sometimes is a bit harder to find out about them.
The format's different too because of the double rounds, so you're kind of chopping and changing a little bit. So that's going to be part of the journey, I think. And I think the idea is that Swiz and I will get together on the weekly and we'll kind of look at, periodically, because I think the games just continue. So just trying to look at, who has the next double round, who to get rid of, who's a good price point to bring in and that kind of thing. And try and help coach a few people through it. So if you are like us, it's kind of an excuse for us to just get on and have a bit of a shit chat, I think, Swiz.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And happy to always talk cricket and that. So I said to my boys that, I need to do some pods. I've got a couple of mates down at the cricket club. I'll give a shout out to Pondy. They've started their own Parkfield podcast, and he's on his high horse about how good his podding is going. And I was like, mate, just leave it to the master here. We'll get on and we'll give everybody a bit of a feel about what to really talk about. So
yeah, give them a plug. Is this the one that you're hitting up saying like what system I've got, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, just to help some new people in the podcast world. So yeah, that's my shout out, Parkfield podcast and that. Support the boys, listen to them and that, talk shit about cricket. But we're here for the Supercoach BBL, and it's as you said, it's a bit different to the normal AFL one, which is good because I guess if the formats and everything was the same, it'd probably get a bit boring and that. But the double games really throw in a new concept and 3 trades a week, which is great because everybody loves to trade.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. And Swiz is also getting a little bit of an upgrade here yourself, Swiz, over Christmas. So next year, we should be hearing an upgraded Swiz, and we'll try and work out a way we can get your beautiful face to deliver with your wonderful voice, mate, in the near future.
Yeah, the wife's actually committed to buying me some stuff for Christmas, so that's exciting. I don't know if that's a bad sign that she wants me to be doing more podcasts and see less of me, but I'm happy to do it.
No, happy to have you. All right, let's get into the BBL. So the big thing for me this year is particularly the amount of wicketkeeper options that we have that look like they're having a playing a good role, which, as we know with Supercoach, it's all about role. So if you have a good role, then you are more likely to score. Also, a few curveballs thrown up yesterday with a few Australian A players coming back into the fold. So we'll get into that as well. And then we're just going to go general thoughts over what kind of structure we're looking at, which sort of players we're looking at as far as in the batsmen and the bowlers, and a couple others around the mark that we're kind of considering. So, Swiz, we'll start with you. I'm going to bring your team up here on the screen. Walk us through with what you're thinking at the moment in your wicketkeeper sort of batsman lineup.
Well, It's all about the double game. So I'll just start with that. So my planning is looking over weeks 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about as far as I look ahead, and focusing on those teams with the double game. So first off, we've got the Sixers and the Brisbane Heat. Round 1, we move into the Adelaide Strikers. Round 2, round 3, it's the Stars, and then round 4, we've got the Perth Scorchers. Now, in that, there's some teams that have buys. So I've sort of tried to keep that in mind as well. Like round 2, Brisbane Heat have the bye after their double game. So try not to overload with them because I'm going to obviously have to move those guys on in part of my trades. So when I was sort of focusing on all lines and that, I was trying to keep that in mind about which teams have those double games early on and which teams have those buys. So then I can sort of have a bit of a trade strategy there. So for the wicket keeping, we'll start there. Clark's come in from overseas. Looks like he's going to be opening the batting for the Stars. There was a spot there for him. Keeper's obviously always in the game, chance to take catches, stumpings, run-outs. So he's playing the game tonight, so I'm emergencying just as a loophole option. Not that I want to put in a keeper that's not going to play, but if he does shit the bed, it does give me an option, or it does give me Nelson who can move into that role. So that's why he's sitting on the bench at the moment, but I think he could be a good option, but there's just not a lot of information about him. So that's why I've gone Clark, and Nielsen's got that spot at the moment that can loophole, but he's also a double game player in round 2. So definitely had to find a spot for him there, and that's how I'm playing that with the wicket keepers.
Yep, that makes sense. And just for those playing at home as well, so you get, 3 trades a week, is it? Which is why if you have anything more than 3 Heat players and you know you're going to be in a little bit of trouble, Sixers are good because they have the double game straight up and that's it. They don't have a bye. Because everyone has, if they have 2 double games and they also have a bye, which helps if you can kind of jump on and jump off at the right time. Sixers are good because they have the double game straight away and then they just play. So they don't miss any games, which is good, which is why I don't mind starting. If you're going to start with a Sixer, you might as well do it now because otherwise, if you bring in a Sixer later on, you're not actually getting any double game benefits. Jump on Sixers early. And I'm with you. I'm looking at Heat and trying to move them on, and even to the Stars. So even with, I can't pronounce his name, but even with the Heat's overseas bowler, you could always go from him to like a Khan next week if you wanted to jump off and go from premium to premium and then sort of ride the wave that way.
Yeah, for sure. I guess you're talking about Mujib, the 208,000 overseas bowler, which is just the logical one at the moment because, and then you can go, if you're not going to start Rashid Khan, it's an easy trade down to him. You hope Rashid doesn't go up in money. Hopefully he stinks it up if you're not starting him. You might be able to make 15, 20K there and do that trade. So that's what you're hoping. Obviously there's the price increases and decreases from each round. So those double games, you're hoping that those players have a big spike, go up in some value, and then you can obviously go down to somebody who might have shit the bed the week before and able to pick them up a little bit cheaper. And that, for example, I'm looking at your Darcy Shorts or someone like that. If they had a poor game, you might be able to move one of those and still make some money on that.
Yeah. So I think the key thing as well is that I'm looking for people that bowl and bat where possible. The thing with batsmen though is if they don't score runs, they literally score really badly and they then they'll drop in price. Whereas at least people that bat and bowl, or at least bowlers, they can go with maybe a good economy or they can take a couple of wickets. Whereas if you're batting and you get out and then you don't field well or you don't bowl, then they have a huge chance of actually just dropping cash massively.
Exactly, and you can see that with my batsmen. So Tommy Curran, what I look in for the players anyway, those who are going to bat top 3 to 4 in the order, and the bowlers who are going to open the bowling or bowl at the end because you're more likely to get those wickets. I try to put as many all-rounders in the batting options. So Tommy Curran will definitely close the innings for the Sydney Sixers, bat middle order. Philippe, I know a few people are thinking about going either Lynn versus him or are just going to use him as the antipod because I know he's very highly selected. I think last time I checked it was around 60% or something that people had him in. I'll double check that, but But because he's an aggressive batsman, so he gets that extra boost with and he scores so quickly. But he's a wicketkeeper as well, so there's always that option that he's going to take catches and run outs and get me some score there. Wildermuth again, another all rounder, bats middle order, but at least he'll bowl and bowl overs. Vince is probably the worry there. Because he can be hit and miss, but we saw what he did in the final series last year. So he's that one actual just genuine bat that I'm sort of banking in, and that's probably Vince versus Lynn, where a lot more people have gone Lynn. And then Garton, who's an international player for the Strikers, more for the double game next week. But he's, again, another bowler that should get some overs. I'm backing on him, that double option to score. But at the moment, I've got Hughes playing tonight as the emergency. If he goes really well tonight, then I've got the option of trading out short and then bringing in maybe a Renshaw or somebody else, or a Finch if he's going to miss first game, as a loophole option. And then I can look at moving like a Garton to the bench or something like that. There's some options around there if Hughes was to score well, but there's very likely chance that Hughes might not score well. As you said, with batsmen, they can very easily fail. So, he can, if that was the case, then, I don't risk his score and he can just sit there as an emergency.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I think I've got Vince as well, more for the double game factor and just hope, it's one of those things that you're kind of looking at. For me, when I look at my side, kind of similar in a way. Let me see if I can zoom in. Nope, that's not a good idea. So then I've got Clark Nielsen as well. I've actually got, is it Gilks sitting there? So I'm trying to work out, again, looks like he'll be opening the batting just with, Khawaja playing for the test team. So I think he might open and he won't keep though, will he? Because I think Billings keeps for them. But it's one of those ones, he's cheap enough. I've got, Felipe. I was big on him last year. And he was very impressive to watch. He definitely doesn't have that flog meter. He seems like a nice guy. He's quite chatty behind the stumps. I think he's nice to watch. And as far as I go, it's like, well, a batsman who has a double game first up, I think it's a pretty safe pick. Like, he might not always perform, but I think he nearly got 100 last year, or did get 100. Batted very well. So I know it's not always the case, but I've actually started with short. And the reason is that, again, he bowls and bats. I think it's not a bad option. They have the double game, I think it is in 6. So I'm just trying to sort of look for someone that I like to watch, I like to play. And bowls, he is fairly underpriced as far as what he can deliver. So I'm thinking short might be the way to go, although I could easily go Lynn to start, basically the same price point, get that double game, and then try and look to move to short. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. I've got Garton as well. I've got Agar in my batting lineup, and the issue I'm having is I do want Hughes, but I quite like my starting squad. So as in, Clark and Nielsen in that keeping line, short Felipe, Vince, Garton, Agar, Gilks and short on the bench. I've got, I don't know how do you say his name, Swiz? The Heat bowler. I should know, seeing it's the Heat and that's my team.
Well, sorry, I'm just looking.
208,000, the overseas bowler for the Heat.
Mujib. You go first names here, mate. There's no trying to do last names with these guys. It's like me. That's why everyone calls me Swiz.
Yeah,
don't bother trying to pronounce last names.
I'm sure. Yeah, he's the finger spinner. Yeah, is he, or just orthodox? I don't know. Anyway, let's go with the Heat spinner. I'm going with Curran as well. Curran will probably be my actual VC because they play early on.
Curran into a VC into Mudge seems to be the most likely VC captain options this week. So just moving on to that. But so just the natural with the double game. And then you can look at, AFL Supercoach and with the loophole, and you get that probably one loophole chance. And that with these starting teams, and even the way you can do it, there's chances to do 3 loopholes a week, or even 4, counting your vice captain and captain. You can get pretty flexible, and I've seen a few starting sides where they've got the 42k rookie in the keeper, batsman, and bowler line. Where now the only risk in that happen is if you're players get selected or they miss games or stuff like that, and you need a player to come off your bench, and then all of a sudden you have no emergencies, can be a bit risky, but at the same time it does give you a lot of loophole options, and that's why Khan for Heat's one of the most selected players this year, because at 42k, batsman bowler who you can loophole around depending. So if Hughes has a really good game, I can just swap Khan.
Khan for the Hurricanes, you mean?
Yeah, for the Hurricanes, yeah. So, or can, we probably should go as to get confusion well, his first name's Josh, so let's go Josh. And that, so yeah, Josh, if Hughes plays well, I can swing Josh into Garton, put Garton on the into the bowlers and that, and then take Hughes to score. So yeah, there's a few people looking at some different options like that. But most sides do seem to be stacked up with those, Heat and sixers or even strikers players.
Well, just saying his initials are JK, so he's kind of the joke of
JK,
the Hurricanes.
So maybe we should go that. Yeah, exactly. Just looking through some of those kind of batsman percentages too at the moment. Philpy 68%, so most people are going with him. Maxi and Stoinis are the next two most owned.
Yeah, I don't have them yet. Do you?
Yeah,
well, Maxi's.
And the reason for it, the Stars apparently are looking at playing three spinners first week. So I don't know that Maxi picks and chooses when he wants to bowl.
Yeah.
So
or he might bowl one over straight up. But if they have three spinners though, you kind of why play three spinners if you're gonna, you wouldn't play Maxi then as well.
Yeah, so I'm hoping Maxi, maybe the top order bat well, or he gets out early in a couple of games, and then come his double game, hopefully drops to like under 170, and I can pick him up there 25k cheaper than everyone else. That's the hope. Knowing Maxi will probably come out and smash 100 first game, and that he's obviously a very talented cricketer. So Stoinis, again, worried about his bowling. He hasn't been doing a lot of bowling. So
I don't think he'll bowl either. Stoinis, you're kind of relying on him being a straight-up batsman at this point in time, although it might change. Yeah. The only benefit is that Stars have the double game in round 3. So you kind of you want to start with him have him 3 rounds and then get rid of him, not bring him in, bring him out, would be the probably ideal way.
Possibly, but I'm still going to bring him in no matter what for that double game. In a perfect world, I'd start him, but there's just too many other players I want. And that's the hard thing. Like, there's so many players you want, but you can only fit so many in. So, and I know then Darcy Short, JK is the next highest pick, but then Darcy Short's next. And, he will bowl overs. We know that. Fantastic batsman, and always scares me not having him in my team. I have had him in my team. But at the same time, it's something's got to give. And then, he's the one. And then next is Chris Lynn, and obviously he's a very destructive batsman up the top. It looks like he's in about 3 for the Heat. So I can see why 39% of people have jumped on him. But when you've got guys like Vince and who's cheaper, or Thorpe at the same price, you can usually only pick maybe one of those guys. So that's why I've gone. Or 1 or 2, so that's why.
Looks like there could be a little bit of rain around tomorrow too. I've been hearing so.
Well, that's the other issue with these games and that, because and this is why it's so important to pick top sort of 3-4 batsmen, because there's a lot of rumours, especially the Sydney games this weekend, that there's going to be a lot of rain around. So if those games don't go ahead, well, that's another story, but sometimes they do, and they're shorter, so it might be a 15 over or a 10 over game. So having your opening batsman who might be just teeing off from the start is very important then, and that's why I probably just staying off Maxi at the moment as well, because if he's going to bat 4 or 5, he might not get as big of a hit compared to some of the other blokes in the side.
All right, so I think I've just worked out if I actually went from Short to Stoinis, more because he had his double game coming up a bit sooner, I can actually go and get Gilks up to Hughes, which is probably a little bit of a better bench option for me.
I do like that, because Gilks, as much as he's going from the batting the first couple of weeks, they have brought in Sammy Whiteman over from WA, who is also a very good gloveman. And then Ollie Davies is back for either game round 3 or round 4, who will come in and bat at 3 for the Thunder. So
just trying to tee up so that way after when they have their bye, I can just then move him to Short, and then Short can play for sort of 4 weeks, have that double game, and then miss his bye about 5 rounds later. So
yeah,
it might be the way to go, and that's what I was looking for. I was trying to find a way to get about 15 to 20,000 just to kind of upgrade that spot for me. So interesting. Let's have a look in the bowling lineup. So as you said, opening bowlers, bowling at the death. My concern is probably Jordan, international player, especially first up because it looks like was it Abbott coming back in for a week?
Yeah, well, this is throwing the span in the works because
he'll only play one game. He'll only play one game.
Yeah,
they don't say they say he probably won't go to Hobart. He's waiting for the birth of his first child. Got released from Australia A duties. He's going to play, but it impacts possibly. Well, where are the overs then? Because Curran's bowling, right?
Yeah, well, Abbott and Agar both coming in. That's completely changed my team from where it was yesterday. I'm backing Jordan at the moment mainly because I think it's probably a couple of those other bowlers for the Sydney
Sixers,
who are going to be affected in that. It probably takes Jordan from bowling 4 to maybe 3 now, depending on how they're going and weather and stuff like that. But with Benny, I always muck up his name, Joyce's out and that. I think it's there's still those overs there, and I think it could be Dan Christian who might be the one that's reduced. He's still in 31% of teams, and I'm thinking at the moment they're more likely to go Abbott, Curran, Jordan, and then the spinner.
Which spinner do you see playing, by the way? Because I'm a big Pope fan. I know he hasn't done well the first couple of years he's stepped up, but he was a junior, killing it as was an under 20 or whatever it was, under 18 Australian player. I think now a couple of years in the system, I think Pope could actually start to get the hang of it a bit more.
Yeah, well, I was looking at Pope too, but I've heard a lot about Manetti likely to get the nod as a bowler as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they go with that. And I think it might come down to weather conditions. And now that Abbott's back, there's a big chance that the Sixers could just go, all right, we're going to go mainly all quicks tonight, banking on the fact that it could be a reduced over game as it is, and it's not going to help the spinners with the weather. So it wouldn't surprise me if they actually just went all quicks or quicks and mediums.
Yeah, that makes sense. And even still, his job security would be slim with 2 spinners that could easily be mixed and matched. Or if one's performing, then the other one's in and out and doesn't provide much security.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I kind of just trying to bank on. I think haven't brought Jordan over to not bowl, and definitely in game 2 at least, he's with Abbott out. He's going to definitely bowl his 4 overs. So I'm happy to bank Jordan in there, and I'm not going to play around with the chance that Dan Christian could bowl 4 or he might bowl 2, depending on everything, or I might take a chance on one of these spinners because Hayden Kerr's name's been thrown up as well as a chance of starting. I think that changes now with Abbott coming in, but I think the Sixers for that that 11th player, there's sort of 3-4 players going into one. So you don't want to pick one and then, that completely changes for game number 2. So, I'd like to go with people who I know, you can bank that they're going to bowl their overs, and I'm happy to cop Jordan getting reduced time game 1 because, game 2, we know Abbott's not going to play.
All right, so number 1, Agar has to be a lock at 89,000. Yeah, he got released from Australia A duty, so he's, even though he doesn't have his double game for a while, definitely a good option. Sell me on that. And secondly, Garton. Tell everyone about Garton because we both have him in the side. You've sold me. I've seemed to have forgotten why, but he seems like a good option, Swiz. Tell everyone.
Yeah, well, Agar definitely. They haven't released him from Australia A duties not to play. So at that price, we all know the star quality, and what he did in that Ashes test and that. So he's a very talented player. So you've just got to have him in now. 17%. I'm sure that'll rise. But it might actually not rise that much because people will be looking at the fact that he doesn't have a double game. So but I think that's just a Monty. Garton's an interesting one, and that he's kind of that pod for me that in 6%. I like him because he's going to play the double game. The worry is I think he's going to bat about 9, but he did open the bowling in games in the IPL. So I think the IPL is obviously the strongest T20 competition in the world. If he's opening there, he should come here and do quite well. The problem is we've seen, especially the English players in the past, have struggled out here. So, it takes them some time to get used to it. So I can see why other people are looking at some more cheaper options or more stable options there. But I just think, though his IPL form wasn't great, if you're playing IPL, surely the step down to the BBL shouldn't be a problem. And, that double game way, he's going to bowl with Siddle and Agar and Khan. I think the strikers team is pretty settled. It's one of the more settled teams that you're looking through from a bowling perspective. So, I'm pretty confident that he's going to bowl at least his 3, possibly 4 overs, and just hope that some of them are either at the start or at the end of the innings.
Jeez, you've made me a bit more worried there, Swiz. You haven't sold it too well.
Oh, no, but...
And then I'm looking, I'm like, okay, well, you got Siddle, you've got Khan, you've got, was it Agar, what's the other guy's name?
Who have I got in there? I've got Bartlett from the Heat.
Oh, no, I'm talking about for Adelaide. They've got...
Adelaide, yeah. It's Siddle, where's Agar?
Where's Agar?
Garson,
yeah,
Russell.
So Siddle and Agar would be 2 key bowlers as well. I mean, Agar, I think, killed it for Adelaide last year. So,
absolutely.
Right, so tossing up between him and, say, who was that Perth player, 100,000? What was his name?
Matt Kelly.
Kelly. Who would you pick between the two then?
I've taken Garson because also there's just that loophole option. He's got the double game mixed up. Yeah. If Garson didn't have it at the double game, I would have not been even considering him. I'm kind of set my team up for first round and second round.
So see how he goes for the first 2 rounds.
Really like Kelly. I kind of like Kelly at 100, but I think he's going to bowl some overs there. They've got some injuries. The Scorchers, so and he's got a lot of talent, but
and Richardson out for Australia too. So
that helps, and the fact that Hardy's not bowling at the moment just makes Kelly's prospects even better. So I like Kelly, but then it comes down to that double game round 2, and I think that's 3 games I can get out of Garson versus two for Kelly. So
that makes sense. And after that double game, you know whether you can move him on anyway. So
Garson's gone. So I had a look at maybe, and it's still a possibility because I've got the cash just to bring in Jakey Weatherald from the Strikers because he's going to open the batting. So there's a big chance that I could still make that change, and because I'm going to want him next week anyway. So I'm sort of already know in my mind that I want Wes Agar, I want Weatherald. So there's a chance that I just put one of them in now, and Garson, I take one look at Garson, and it might be what I end up doing. So it's very much on what happens in the Sixers for Stars game tonight, because if Hughes gets going, then as I said, JK gets loopholed in, and then Garson just comes into the bowlers. Where if I was to swap that for a Weatherald or someone else, I can't loophole him as easy, but then I can obviously move to Curran or something like that. So, because I've got a little bit of cash in the bank, I haven't spent all my cash. It gives me a bit of flexibility what I want to do with my team.
All right, last player is Bartlett from the Heat. So we read a little bit about him. Looks like his role's improving. Is that kind of the sounds of it? So Bartlett, 97,000?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's because of the players that are missing because of Australia duties and Australia A duties and injuries. Bartlett for the double game, and that's literally all he's going to be playing for me. That he's a 2-game specialist, going to come in, play his role. He's had some good form early on here in the domestic competition. So for 97K, I'm banking him to able to take a couple of wickets. Hopefully, the economy is going to be sort of around 7, and that should give him a little bit of a price spike, which will help me possibly get him to Siddle or close to Siddle or close to Agar for next week. So of those, I know a lot of other people are going the slightly cheaper option. Excuse me for a second. Where is he? Baisley. James Baisley, one of the internationals, but so there's a few people looking at him, and there's been a lot of people picking the 87,000 and I've just my screen's not bloody updating here. Who's the Heat player? 85,000. Matty Kuhneman, who's been guaranteed that he's going to play at least the first game, and I think they said they're going to play him the second game. Could play in both games as well. So, there's a few people looking at him at 85,000, which is slightly cheaper. But I think Bartlett's form and the fact that, he's more than likely to open the bowling, but you can never actually guarantee that they're not going to open spinner or something like that. I think Bartlett's the safer option at the moment. And that probably shows why he's in 22%. He still averaged 30 last year. I think, if he can get going and have a couple of 40, 50-point games early on, I think it's kind of a no-brainer at his price.
Yeah, so I'm looking at going probably Bartlett, probably even up to a Kelly if I can. Scorchers have the double round in 4. They also then have a double round in 9, and then they have their bye. So you can dump them all by round 10. 2 double games. I mean, I think there's nothing better than that, really. So I think that kind of wraps us up. The only thing is I've got Paris on my bench here, and I think you've got, is it Farah down? Farah, how do you...
Yeah, the Farah down.
So I haven't seen him in many teams, though. So what's the thinking?
So I had, what did I have? I did have Paris, and he looks all right. My worry with Paris is he's just so injury prone, and I know after sort of the first couple rounds, you're going to have Boland back from Australia. Meredith's going to come back. So Paris is the first out. No matter how well he bowls, there's not a spot there for him. Where Farraden, sort of an unknown, but we saw it with Labuschagne coming in. We've seen it with a couple of these other international spinners, and then Rashid Khan's the obvious one with that. Australians don't play those wrist spinners that well. So I'm banking on this unknown prospect to come in, take a couple of wickets, and then they keep him in and hopefully plays his double game in round 3 or at least one of them. And as a 62K option, he can just sit on my bench, hopefully, build some cash and, gets 3-4 games and hopefully, can get up close to 100K. Because there's always that player and it always seems to be like a spinner that, one of those unknown spinners. So that's why I like him. Where Paris, I just don't see him as have any job security.
Yep, that sounds fair. I think that wraps us up, Swiz. So we'll see how we go, and then we'll just pick up players that have dropped price that we're keen on, and we'll just go from there. We're just going to make it up, boys. Just enjoy the BBL. I am really excited. The missus is not excited because I'm like, cricket will be on every night, and I actually like to do the BBL workout. And for those of you at home, if you're going to sit around and watch cricket and you want to get some physical activity, then I try and smash out 10 push-ups and over, which comes around. So if you sit there having a drink, then every over, smash out 10 push-ups, and by the end of it, you've done 400 over a 3-hour period. So it's good. I'm not going to lie.
That's genuinely insane, mate, and that. But actually, on that one, that last player and that, I know Hinchcliffe, apparently, it's the other spinner that looks like it's going to get picked for the Stars. So I know he's gone up to 9%. So just have a look at him. But no, mate, on that, there's going to be a lot of cricket on. We've got the Ashes starting next Wednesday. I like it, mate. If people want to get fit and whatever and lose some Ks, I know those who follow Chris, he's been doing a ton of work in the gym and stuff and getting himself fit. So, we all, put those Christmas kilos on. So, I like the attitude, mate. That's good. I'm not going to be doing that, but,
well, I think by the end of it, I start like adding in bonus things, like if they hit a 6, I have to do burpees, or I don't know. It's a nice way to kind of balance it out a little bit. And, I don't know. I'm just weird like that, mate. If I'm going to sit around, like when I have, if I watch a footy game, I instead of sitting there all the time, I hop on the treadmill and watch it. Because, there are limited opportunities when you're a dad to get in there and exercise. So that's about it. Look, Swiz, thank you very much. We'll make this up as we go. I am devastated. The Ashes, though, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm working, right? So I actually have a volleyball tournament, so I can't even go. Friday, I've still got work. And the one day that a mate could have got tickets because it was all sold out, he was too late in the member section, was Friday. And I was like, Thursday, I can't go anyway. So, slack, mate, missing out.
Mate. Well, Ben, aren't you a sports teacher? Shouldn't you just be doing this as a part of a field trip? Kids, we're going to go learn about the game of cricket. It's simple. It's
the last week of school, mate. So it's, I know, if I had a ticket, then I probably would have tried to work around it. But a mate of mine forgot, and because it's all online now, it used to be when you have your Gabba members, it would be first in, you get the seat. So if you line up early, then you get the best seats. Whereas now it's all online, so people are ordering extra tickets because they can online, and then everything sells out. Or you can have your ticket, but then you sit somewhere crap because everyone else get in early. So look, it's okay. It is what it is. I'll be watching it on my telephone. So there you go. Foxtel game.
No. Well, I've organised my work shifts this week, so I'm knocking off early, so I'll be in time to be able to sit back and watch the game. So it should be an exciting Ashes series, as it always is.
Legend. Well, we've got to wrap up there, guys. But look, leave a comment. Let us know what team you're thinking of. Shout out to Tim Mitchell as well, mate. He's been trying real hard with this, so we're going to give this some legs and let's get it up and get it going. Let us know who you're thinking about starting or how you progress if you are first time to BBL. Let us know as well. Enjoy the ride. That's us.
Yep. No. Always happy to talk cricket with you, Benny boy. So, have a great week and good luck to everybody who's Supercoach BBLing this season.
Good luck. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah.